Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Steelers George Pickens named among receivers needing most draft help. In 2023, George Pickens cemented himself as the WR1 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He put together a monster second season in the league. Unfortunately, the team's wide receiver situation isn't great once you get past him. It seems that has made him one of the receivers most in need of help in this year's draft. NFL Michelle Magdziuk revealed that she believes he belongs on that list in an April 18 article. She wrote, however, he has yet to post a season with 70-plus receptions in college or the NFL as a full-time WR1. Pickens is a strong, big-bodied receiver who is incredible at the catch point and playing through contact. His highlight reel certainly isn't lacking wow plays. However, Pickens has struggled to consistently create separation on his own. Per Next Gen Stats, he averaged just 2.3 yards of separation per target in 2023, which ranked third lowest among wide receivers with 75-plus targets. It would highly benefit Pickens if the Steelers added a technically sound wideout to play on the opposite side of him. Magdziuk believes former Michigan WR Roman Wilson is the right fit to be that technically sound receiver. Wilson would be a fantastic fit for the Steelers' offense. He is exactly the type of receiver that would allow Pickens to have more space to work with along the perimeter. Wilson isn't the flashiest wideout in this draft class, but he is a smooth route runner with reliable hands who does all the little things well. Pickens is just 2 years into his NFL career and he has already established himself as a massive steal after he was drafted 52nd overall. He was a big contributor right off the bat for the Steelers, making 52 catches for 801 yards and 4 touchdowns. Pickens was even better in year 2. His second season saw him rack up 63 catches for 1,140 yards and 5 touchdowns. Those 2 seasons came with him competing against Deontay Johnson for targets. Now he should command an ever bigger share of the team's targets even if they bring in a rookie to play alongside him. He'll also be getting those targets from a QB who is better than any of the quarterbacks he has played within his first 2 seasons. The biggest concern for him is that he could face a lot of attention from opposing defenses in 2024 because the Steelers don't have much else to worry about at receiver right now. The Steelers set themselves up pretty poorly at wide receiver this offseason. They traded Johnson without having a replacement ready for him. The Steelers have made some moves at the position since the trade, but still don't have a WR2 or really a WR3 right now. None of the receivers other than Pickens reached 250 yards in 2023. With those options available, it looks like their second receiving option could even be their tight end. On April 12, Steelers.com's Dale Lally wrote that he believes Pat Freiermuth could be the team's second pass catcher because of his competition and the histories of Arthur Smith and Russell Wilson getting the ball to tight ends. Adding a receiver in the draft could change that, but right now there isn't much help for Pickens on the Steelers roster. SB Nation NFL Mock Draft, Steelers walk away with Oti Olufashinu after stunning fall to pick 20. After disastrous 2023 campaigns from left tackle Dan Moore Jr. and center Mason Cole, rebuilding the offensive line was always bound to be a priority for the Steelers in the offseason. Omar Khan and company were patient in their pursuit, and it paid off, snagging the consensus OT3 in this class with the 20th overall pick, Olumuyiwa Olufashinu of Penn State. How he fell as far as he did in the annual SB Nation mock draft remains a mystery. Fashanu was the 5th tackle off the board in this exercise, falling behind Joe Alt, Talise Fuaga, J.C. Latham and Troy Fatanu. Though he has absurdly small hands at 8½ inch, perhaps a trait the Steelers look for at pick number 20, and struggled on the big stage against Ohio State last season, allowing 6 of his 10 total pressures all season in that game, there's not much to not like about Fashanu and what he'll immediately offer in terms of pass protection starting day 1 for his new quarterback. Measuring in at 6 feet 6 inches and 312 pounds at the 2024 NFL Scouting Combine, Fashanu did plenty to showcase he's got plenty of athleticism to match the tape, boasting a 5.11 second 40-yard dash, 79th percentile for OT, a 32-inch vert, 88th, and 109 broad jump, 79th. With that athleticism comes plenty of explosion on tape, with plenty of power and a quickness out of his stance that has made him one of the most effective pass blockers in the NCAA. Per PFF, Fashanu didn't allow a single sack throughout his collegiate career, earning an 89.2 pass blocking grade over the past 2 seasons, which ranked second among all tackles. Where Fashanu will need to grow at the next level, and quickly, considering Arthur Smith's run-heavy scheme, is in his ability as a run blocker. As NFL draft analyst Dane Brugler notes in his annual draft guide, the Beast, Fashanu, shows much better balance in reverse rather than moving forward. However, there's no question that the physical power is there to improve in this regard. Worth noting is the fact that Fashanu is as true a career left tackle as you can find, having played primarily left tackle in high school before going on to play 100% of his snaps at left tackle during his time at Penn State. If Fashanu did fall to the Steelers, it seems likely that he'd stick at left tackle and they'd keep Broderick Jones on the right, even if that's not his natural spot on the line. They'd have the whole offseason to figure out if that's the right course, however, with plenty of time to see how the line performs, depending on where they've lined up. Regardless of where he's lined up, the Steelers would have found themselves some major value with the pick. DraftKings Sportsbook has odds installed at -330 that the first position drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers will be an offensive lineman, followed by wide receiver at +350 and cornerback +600 as the 3 most heavily favored positions, understandably, considering where their greatest needs currently stand. Unfortunately for fans who like the pick in this mock draft, DraftKings pegs it as an unlikely outcome that Fashanu falls to the Steelers at pick number 20. The over-under on Fashanu's draft position currently set at 14.5, with odds heavily favoring the under at -205. Odds that he falls to pick 15, or beyond, are installed at +165. NFL Insider clarifies Brandon Aiyuk trade rumors. San Francisco 49ers wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk remains the center of trade rumors, especially with the Pittsburgh Steelers, but one NFL insider clarified some misconceptions about them. The notion that Aiyuk had requested a trade is not accurate, Pro Football Talk's Mike Florio said April 18 on 93.7 The Fan on April 18, via Steelers Depot. The notion that the Steelers had been the most aggressive is not accurate. My understanding is there was maybe a phone call weeks ago, and the response was, "We're not trading the guy." And that was that. Amid Aiyuk's wanting a bigger contract and unfollowing the 49ers on social media, rumors swelled to a trade request on April 13, but Aiyuk's agent, Ryan Williams, shot that down on April 14. On the same day, Noah Strackbine of Sports Illustrated's All Steelers reported that the Steelers are in talks with the 49ers about an Aiyuk trade. Despite that report, NFL Network's Ian Rappaport reported that little had developed amid receiver-needy teams approaching the 49ers. Talking during NFL Total Access on April 15, Rappaport said the 49ers have not entertained any of those talks, but noted inquiries will persist until Aiyuk has a deal. Now, I fully expect interested teams to re-engage as the draft approaches, especially with that report out there. I also believe there's a chance that there's been some conversation along the lines of, not that he's asked for a trade, but looking for teams that might be interested in doing something, Florio said on 93.7 The Fan. Aiyuk has a 5th-year extension with the 49ers worth $14.12 million, which is less than his annual Spotrac market value of $24.9 million. Pittsburgh has been one of the most frequently mentioned teams in Aiyuk trade rumors year, and his Mike Tomlin resemblance didn't help. Andrew Filipponi of the Fan 93.7 reported in March that the Steelers have looked into Aiyuk. Amid the report, people made note of the resemblance between Aiyuk and Tomlin, the Steelers' head coach. Aiyuk had fun with that on social media himself, which stirred the rumors all the more. I wake up and they're talking about another team that they got me, linked, to trade talks or whatever, Aiyuk said during the Nightcap podcast on March 28. So I just said let me if everyone is saying this and that, let me go ahead and just put out one of my little spots. I reverted back to Tomlin, we can have a little bit of fun with it, Aiyuk added. And you, fan, what do you think of the situation of Brandon Aiyuk? Leave your opinion in the comments.